Hello everybody, I put together a top 10 list of everything you're going to need to know to be successful in Call of Duty World War II. If this is your first time in my channel, you're not necessarily familiar with the content I make. I like to make different Call of Duty content, basically geared around tips and tricks and working out different in-game mechanics to better help you, the subscriber. And if you're a subscriber watching the video, welcome back. So tip number one is going to be a login daily, because every day you get the opportunity to increase your multiplier up to 3 times whatever the login bonus is. So if your login bonus is 100, you'll get 300 because it's multiplied by 3. All the way up to 500 multiplied by 3, you're going to end up with 1,500 ARMORY credits. And I'll talk about ARMORY credits later on. Tip number 2, if you're also going to be logging in daily, make sure you go to Major Howard and the Quartermaster to do your daily orders and contracts, because those all stack up to more supply drops as well as more ARMORY credits. And both of these can be found in the headquarters, which is a new added feature in Call of Duty World War II. So for tip number 3, you're going to want to make sure you adjust all your settings to your preferences. Normally what I prefer doing is making sure that you have the right sensitivity, so you can adjust that accordingly as you play on. As a beginner, you usually leave it default and maybe raise it little by little, or reduce it if it's too fast for you. The other setting I would remove is to remove vibration, because a lot of times that can just be a distraction when you get into a gunfight. You get hit, it vibrates, you land wrong, and you have fall damage. It vibrates, whatever the case is. I'd also reduce the volume of the music to almost none, just because as you reduce that, you'll have a better situational awareness of where things are, and you'll be able to hear people better. The last part when it comes to settings is to make sure that your screen, you shrink it as small as you can, because that'll only affect the HUD, so that you'll be able to have a mini map closer to the center of the screen. All your ammo, your kill feed, everything is going to be a little bit tighter to the screen, so you don't have to actually pan your eyes all the way to the corner of the screen. It'll be a little bit closer to the center. So that's another added point that'll help. If you need a little bit more help with this tip, I would recommend checking out my video on the topic. I did a whole video specifically breaking down the setup of the menu and how to set that up. Thank you for watching so far. If you are enjoying the video at all, please go ahead and remember to click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn those notifications on. Thank you. Let's get into the next tip. When it comes to a new player playing Call of Duty, probably for the first time or it's been a little while, I would recommend jumping into War right away. War doesn't affect any of your stats except for score per minute and win-loss, so your KD won't be affected if you just die a bunch learning to experience the game. The other part of playing War that's really nice is you get a chance to experiment with different weapons, level up and progress and level up those weapons, so you're able to gain more attachments before you jump into other modes like Team Deathmatch, Domination, Kill Confirmed, Hardpoint, or whatever other mode you enjoy. The other nice part about War is it forces different ranges of engagements. So there's some engagements that are going to be really close, so you could practice using your SMG, pistol, shotgun, whatever the case is, and many other engagements that are a little bit more medium to long range, so you can use your rifles and your sniper rifles, so you can actually experiment with different loadouts and just try different things out. And that's going to bring me to my next tip, which is tip number 5. And tip number 5 is all about choosing the right division that suits you. A lot of different people have different opinions on them. I've already done a video covering why I feel the infantry division is the best division. But everyone has a different play style, so it might fit you a little different. Some people might like the suppression of the airborne division or the faster movement speed. So I would highly recommend experimenting with different divisions to find the one that best suits you. The idea behind divisions is they're supposed to cater to certain play styles. Obviously, one play style is different than another. And then you can kind of mix and match those with certain basic training, certain weapons. So you get the ideal formula that best suits you. One of the added benefits of experimenting with different divisions is once they reach maximum level, which is the level 4 and level it all the way, you'll be able to prestige them. And the benefit of prestiging in this specific game is that when you're going to go ahead and prestige, you'll get a special weapon unlock. So for infantry, you're going to get a rifle. For airborne, you're going to get a submachine gun, and so on throughout all the divisions. So after you've prestiged all of the divisions, you should have an extra 5 or so weapons that you'll be able to use in addition to the base weapons you have. The other great thing about these weapons is many of them are good weapons. So what you're able to do is that when you prestige your regular main account, hit level 55 in prestige, you'll still have these weapons unlocked permanently, which is nice. So in case you prestige and you don't have all the weapons you're used to, this will be a great added thing for you so that when you prestige, you'll still have these permanently unlocked. And the last thing I wanted to talk about when prestiging your division is that you will actually unlock a secret kill streak once you've unlocked and prestiged all your divisions, which is the V2 rocket. It is a 25 kill streak with the gun or your lethals. Score streaks do not count. If you're wearing ordnance, it'll reduce that number down to 24. It's definitely difficult to get, so if this is your first time ever playing Call of Duty, you might struggle a little bit, because people who've even played Call of Duty for the past 10 years still struggle to get a nuke type streak. So hopefully you have good luck with that and work on some fundamentals so you can make sure that you hit one of those out of the park at some point in your Call of Duty career. The next thing I want to talk about in tip number 6 is going to be talking about accuracy. A lot of times people ask me, how the heck are you able to be so accurate, even though I don't have amazing accuracy? The main thing you got to remember is you have to counter any kind of recoil. And I would say the majority of guns do have recoil that is controllable, and that means they just go straight vertical, up and down, north and south, however you want to talk about it. And they don't really have too much side to side or left and right or east and west movement. And the benefit of that is you can just pull down on your analog stick or pull down on your mouse when you're actually firing on computer as well. And the benefit of doing this is it can be very predictable. You just kind of hold down slightly, and depending on how strong the recoil is, you just adjust for that. And many times you're able to counter that recoil and basically counteract any kind of effects of missing shots. You'll be able to just land straight shots and hit one target. So how can you improve? So there's actually a couple different ways. One is to do what I've talked about already, which is go to war and just play the game, because there's different mechanics at play when there's aim assist on versus aim assist not on. So if you're just shooting targets on the target range, do not do that and think that you're being accurate. Targets on the range do not have aim assist, so they are not going to function the same way a enemy opponent will. So that's not going to really help your aim, just shooting people on the range. The other thing you can do, which is a great tip that I've seen several times from Exclusive Ace, which is another great YouTuber. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. He's amazing as well. And what he does is he recommends going in, playing with bots, go free for all, put I don't know, 10, 12 bots on, and put them all on recruit bots and see how many kills you can get in one magazine or one clip of your weapon. And what you'll do and what you'll notice is that when you focus more on accuracy, you can actually line up the shots, get some crisp kills. The only downside of this is since it's not through the internet connection, the everything feels so crisp and it almost feels like you're on a different game. When you throw in the internet connection of multiplayer, that's why I say war is another great way to go, because you're going to have those different ranges and you're going to be able to experiment on making sure that you're lining up your shot. And if you focus on that and treat it as a drill, a warm-up game, you should be good to go and focus on that accuracy. The other thing, it goes back to the settings I talked about. Make sure your sensitivity is not too high. If you're missing shots because you want to be able to turn around and do a 360, quick scope, joint phase, whatever, that's probably not the play style you want to adopt. Lower your sensitivity. Keep in mind that most pro players keep their sensitivity between 4 and 6. And I would say most are at 5 on average if you had to look around the different pro players. And not that any of us are pro players, and if you are, that's more power to you. But if you're not a pro player, you shouldn't be acting like you have this amazing sensitivity that's not really going to help you. Just make it easier to land shots and you'll get more kills. So tip number 7 is going to be all about the supply drop system. And the supply drop system, I've done several videos on it. It's designed for you to get duplicates in the long run. And the more you play, the more duplicates you will get because you're getting more of the different collections. The main reason you even want supply drops is because maybe you want certain versions of weapons that look a little bit prettier. And that's basically all it is. It's different aesthetics. Some of them have a little different metal iron sides, so they look slightly different, more open, more closed. There's different variations on the different weapons. But main advantage is maybe you want a particular outfit for your division. Maybe you want a certain camo as far as what your division player looks like, or a calling card or emblem or whatever. There's different features that you want. Maybe you don't want pistol grips. I don't know. There's like 200 pistol grips in the game. But at the end of the day, the main focus for supply drops, and keep that in mind and you'll have way more happiness with your supply drops, is that you either get those heroic items, which is amazing, you'll be happy with those, or you get duplicates. The key, you really want tons of duplicates because they're going to help increase your armory credits. And I'm going to talk about armory credits right now, but I just really want to focus on getting as many supply drops as you can. Don't pay for them. Don't spend that money. Save your bribes until you really have to use them at the last minute. But supply drops, earn as many as you can through orders and contracts like I mentioned earlier on. And that's going to bring me to tip number 8, which again is Armory credits. And why are Armory credits so important? We just had this biggest issue that we had in Call of Duty World War II so far for a weapon being locked behind a paywall for a majority of an event. And if you've been playing the game already, you already know what I'm talking about. And that's the Volkssturm Gewehr. And the Volkssturm Gewehr was released about 3 days into the event. In an special order for the week, and if you picked it up, you played 30 or 40 games, 50 games, whatever it was, and then you unlocked the weapon automatically. You didn't have to worry about supply drops, you didn't have to worry about using armory credits, nothing. It was already unlocked by default. You would already have it. Then they proceeded to go over 30 days and they didn't release anything but garbage, weekly drops, daily drops, whatever the case was. Nothing geared towards that weapon. That weapon right now is on the slight borderline, could be overpowered. They might adjust it, they might tweak it, but at the end of the day, it was a very powerful weapon that was introduced to the game, and it was cut off by a majority of the population that play the game that did not play on that one specific day. Why I bring it up with armory credits? Because if you had 20 or 30,000 armory credits, you would have just been able to go to the collection, purchase every item from the collection, and then be able to get the weapon. And you know, that's really what it comes down to. That's what armory credits are for. Be happy about your duplicates because you're going to get those armory credits and you'll be able to purchase whatever new DLC weapon that comes out the day it comes out. We're getting towards the end of the video. Last 2 tips for you. If you can, go ahead and make sure you click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already with them notifications on. Really helps me to push out the content and allows to get connected with you guys right away. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Let's get into it. Tip number 9 is going to be to use and experiment with different weapons. I know I mentioned this a little bit with your leveling up process, but what I did want to focus on is use the meta. Obviously use the meta, because the meta is the weapons that are better than the average weapons. So for example, if I went class by class off the top of my head, I would say the PPSH is probably the best SMG. Maybe the Type 100 if you're going to do the medium to long range. Grease gun's good. And the MP40 is pretty nice after you prestige the Airborne Division, but I would definitely avoid the WAF if you're a newer player to Call of Duty. The recoil is just insane. Thompson recoil is pretty crazy, but as you get better, that's definitely one I would try out. As far as the infantry weapons, as far as rifles go, I would avoid all the semi-autos if you're new to Call of Duty, and then start up by using probably the BAR or the STG-44. Because those are some of the basic guns that are really good right from the get-go. I know those are like level 35 and 42 or something like that to unlock from the beginning. So I would definitely use your prestige token on one of those if they're your favorite as you experiment through the levels. As far as shotguns go, I would say stay away from everything except for the combat shotgun. It is the most powerful shotgun in the game. Not even close. Everyone can argue, but at the end of the day, unless you're playing hardcore, the combat shotgun is the most consistent, most reliable shotgun there is in the game. As far as the sniper rifles go, prestige your division and the mountain division. Get the Kar 98. It's the best one. It's not even close. Carabin is good in hardcore just because you have that rapid fire semi-auto action, but you do need 2 shots to kill with that one or a headshot in core. So I would recommend sticking with the Kar 98. As far as LMGs go, the Lewis is ungodly good. So stick with the Lewis out of all of them. That one's probably the best one. 3-shot kill at all ranges. Bren is pretty nice now that they just got a recent buff, but at the end of the day, 2 shots to kill. If you miss, the rate of fire is so slow that you can actually get melted in between the 2 bullet bursts. The other 2 LMGs are pretty nice, just not quite as good as the Lewis. And that brings me to tip number 10, and probably the most important tip out of everything I've told you so far. And tip number 10 is work on actually getting better. There's so many elements to the game that have changed, switching from advanced movement to boots on the ground, or even if you were in boots on the ground and now you're coming back after a long layoff. A lot has changed. People are more accurate. People are more focused. People have better ideas on how to play. Map awareness is huge, especially in this game with the spawn so rigid. I've grown so many subscribers from the spawn guides I've put out that I know that that's a need in the community, that people just struggle with understanding the spawns and map awareness and positioning. There's so much to learn and practice in Call of Duty besides just gun skill. I know by far I do not have the best gun skill. If I'm just walking down a corridor and it's head to head, there's plenty of people who outgun me. But the best part is when you play smarter, not harder, you will actually improve your gameplay and significantly, and obviously gun skill will come as time progresses, and you'll get more accurate over time. And there's certain limitations to your reaction time based off age. Typically, as you age, your reaction time slows. So hopefully you are improving from this video altogether. This was a beginner's guide to Call of Duty World War II, top 10 tips. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.